In the small, weathered town of Millbrook, nestled between forgotten factories and quiet streets, Emily Collins lived a life of quiet resilience. At 16, she carried responsibilities far beyond her years, her slim shoulders bearing the weight of her family's struggles. Her mother, Margaret, worked endless shifts at the local textile factory, her hands rough and calloused from years of hard labor. Their tiny two-bedroom apartment was a testament to their modest existence. Peeling wallpaper and second-hand furniture told stories of survival. Every evening, Emily would help her mother prepare a simple meal, carefully stretching their limited budget with clever cooking and careful planning. At Millbrook High School, Emily was invisible. Not by choice, but by circumstance. Her clothes were carefully mended, her shoes slightly worn, marking her as different from the more affluent students who seemed to float through life with ease. She sat in the back of every classroom, her eyes always focused, her notebook always open, her mind always learning. Her teachers rarely noticed her. She was the quiet girl who never raised her hand, never caused trouble, never demanded attention. Mr. Richard Thompson, her English teacher, often overlooked her, his gaze passing over her as if she were just another piece of classroom furniture. But Emily had dreams. Hidden beneath her quiet exterior was a burning desire to change her family's circumstances. Every night, after helping her mother and completing her household chores, she would study. Mathematics, literature, science, she consumed knowledge like oxygen, believing education was her only ticket to a better life. Her backpack was her most treasured possession. Though worn and patched, it carried her hopes. Inside, carefully protected, were her notebooks filled with neat handwriting, practice essays, and mathematical calculations. Each page represented a step toward her silent dream of breaking free from the cycle of poverty. The other students rarely spoke to her. Some whispered, some ignored her completely. Emily didn't mind. She understood that survival sometimes meant being invisible, blending into the background, observing more than participating. Margaret worried about her daughter's isolation. "You need friends," she would say during their shared meals. But Emily would simply smile, understanding that her mother's concern came from love, not understanding her daughter's inner strength. Millbrook was changing. The old industrial town was losing its economic battle. Factories closed, businesses struggled, and hope became a rare commodity. But Emily refused to be defined by her town's limitations. She saw potential where others saw only decline. Her teachers saw her as an average student at best. Mr. Thompson, in particular, seemed to believe she lacked ambition. Little did he know that behind her quiet demeanor was a mind sharp as a razor, dreams bigger than her small town could imagine. Every morning, Emily would wake before dawn. She would help her mother prepare for work, make a simple breakfast, ensure the apartment was clean. Then she would walk to school, her steps measured, her posture straight, carrying the weight of her family's hopes. In class, she listened intently. While other students doodled or whispered, Emily absorbed every word. Her notebooks were filled with careful notes, insights that went beyond the surface of typical teenage understanding. She read extensively, borrowing books from the local library, expanding her world through pages when her physical world felt limited. Her mathematics teacher once caught her solving an advanced problem during free study time. For a moment, he looked surprised, seeing a glimpse of the extraordinary intelligence Emily carefully concealed. But the moment passed, and she returned to her quiet routine. The winter was particularly harsh that year. Their heating was inconsistent, their budget stretched thin. But Emily never complained. She would wear an extra layer, help her mother seal the windows, ensure they stayed warm with minimal resources. Little did Emily know that her life was about to change. A single moment, an unexpected opportunity, was waiting just around the corner. Her quiet strength, her unwavering determination, would soon be tested in ways she could never imagine. In Millbrook, where dreams often died before they could breathe, Emily Collins was about to prove that true potential cannot be contained by circumstance, and that silence can be the most powerful voice of all. The classroom buzzed with nervous energy as Mr. Thompson began discussing Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. His sharp eyes scanned the room, looking for a student to challenge. Emily sat quietly in her usual spot, her notebook open, her hands folded neatly on her desk. Without warning, Mr. Thompson's finger pointed directly at her. Emily Collins, he called out, his voice carrying a hint of challenge, what do you understand about love and sacrifice in this play? The classroom fell silent. Students who had never paid attention to Emily before now turned to look at her. She felt the weight of their stares, the sudden pressure of unexpected attention. Most teachers would have expected her to stammer, to struggle. But Emily was different. She took a deep breath and began to speak. Her voice was soft but clear, each word carefully chosen. She spoke about the complex emotions in the play, how love could be both destructive and transformative. She explained how Romeo and Juliet's passion was both their strength and their weakness, how their love transcended family boundaries but ultimately led to tragedy. Mr. Thompson's eyebrows raised. The other students looked surprised. Emily's analysis was deeper than anyone expected, revealing an intelligence that had been hidden behind her quiet demeanor. Interesting perspective, Mr. Thompson said, trying to hide his surprise. Can you elaborate on how their love challenges societal expectations? Emily continued, her confidence growing with each sentence. She spoke about social constraints, family honor, and how young love can challenge established norms. Her understanding went beyond the typical teenage interpretation, showing a maturity that shocked her classmates. When she finished, a moment of stunned silence filled the room. Mr. Thompson, who had expected to embarrass her, found himself impressed instead. After class, Mrs. Roberts, the school counselor, approached Emily. That was a remarkable analysis, she said, her kind eyes studying the young girl. Have you ever considered applying for advanced programs? Emily hesitated. Advanced programs meant money, something her family didn't have. But the seed of possibility had been planted. That evening, she returned home to find her mother looking worried. Their electricity bill sat on the table, marked with a bright red warning. Margaret looked exhausted, her hands trembling slightly as she tried to figure out how they would pay. Emily knew she had to do something. Her classroom performance had shown her that she was capable of more than anyone had expected. Perhaps there was a way to help her family, to create opportunities where none seemed to exist. She began researching scholarship opportunities that evening. Her mother noticed her concentration, the way her fingers moved quickly across the computer keyboard. What are you doing? Margaret asked. Planning, Emily responded simply. I'm going to find a way to help us. The scholarship she found was competitive, designed for students who showed exceptional academic potential and demonstrated financial need. It would provide not just tuition support, but also a living stipend that could help her family. The application required multiple essays, recommendations, and a detailed explanation of her academic and personal goals. Most students would have found the process overwhelming. But Emily saw it as a challenge, another opportunity to prove her worth. She began working on her application immediately. Each night, after helping her mother and completing her household responsibilities, she would sit and craft her essays. She wrote about her experiences, her family's struggles, her determination to create a better future. Her quiet strength, which had always been her protection, was now becoming her greatest asset. The girl who had been invisible was about to make herself seen. Mr. Thompson's unexpected challenge in class had done more than embarrass her, it had awakened something within Emily. A realization that her silence was not a weakness, but a form of power. An understanding that her potential was far greater than anyone had imagined. As the winter night settled over Millbrook, Emily continued working. Her mother watched her, seeing for the first time the incredible young woman her daughter was becoming. A scholarship was more than money. It was hope, possibility, a chance to break free from the constraints of their current life. Emily Collins was no longer just going to survive. She was preparing to thrive. The scholarship application consumed Emily's every waking moment. She worked meticulously, understanding that this was her family's lifeline. Her school counselor, Mrs. Elizabeth Roberts, noticed her dedication and began providing subtle guidance. One afternoon, Mrs. Roberts called Emily into her office. The small room was filled with motivational posters and shelves of achievement records. I've been reviewing your application, she said, her glasses perched carefully on her nose. You have potential that goes beyond just academic excellence. Emily listened carefully.
She was not used to receiving personal attention from teachers.
Mrs. Roberts explained the scholarship's requirements, not just academic performance, but community involvement and personal narrative. "Tell me about your challenges," Mrs. Roberts encouraged.
"The selection committee wants to understand your journey."
For the first time, Emily shared her story. She spoke about her mother's struggles, their financial difficulties, her determination to create a better future. Her words were simple but powerful, revealing a depth of character that surprised even herself. Mr. Thompson, who had previously underestimated her, began to take notice. After her classroom presentation, he started providing her with additional reading materials.
Advanced literature texts appeared in her locker, challenging her intellectual curiosity.
At home, Emily's mother was battling her own challenges.
The textile factory where she worked was experiencing financial difficulties.
Rumors of potential layoffs circulated, adding more pressure to their already fragile situation. Emily noticed her mother's increased stress. Margaret would return home later each night, her shoulders more hunched, her spirit more tired. Emily took on more household responsibilities, cooking simple meals, ensuring their small apartment remained a sanctuary of comfort.
During this time, Emily began working part-time at a local cafe.
Her shifts were carefully scheduled around her school hours and study time. Every penny she earned went towards their household expenses or her scholarship application.
The cafe owner, Mr. Williams, was impressed by her work ethic.
"You're different from most teenagers," he would tell her. "You understand the value of hard work." Her scholarship application became more than just a document. It represented hope for education, for a different future, for breaking the cycle of financial struggle that had defined her family's existence. Mrs. Roberts helped her refine her essays. Together, they highlighted Emily's strengths, her resilience, her academic potential, her commitment to family and community. Each draft became more powerful, more revealing of her true character.
Mr.
Thompson, witnessing her transformation, began writing a recommendation letter. His previous dismissive attitude had completely changed. He saw in Emily a remarkable student who had been overlooked, a diamond hidden in plain sight.
The scholarship was competitive. Hundreds of students from across the region would apply, each with their own story of struggle and hope. Emily understood that her application needed to be exceptional.
She spent nights researching, understanding the selection committee's criteria. Her computer became her weapon, her keyboard her tool of transformation. Every word was carefully chosen, every paragraph crafted with precision. Her mother watched her progress with a mixture of pride and concern. "Don't put too much pressure on yourself," Margaret would say. But Emily knew this was her chance, perhaps their only chance. The local library became her second home. She studied past successful scholarship applications, understanding what made them stand out.
Her research was thorough, her approach methodical.
As the application deadline approached, Emily felt a mixture of excitement and terror. This was more than just a scholarship. This was a potential escape route from their current circumstances, a bridge to a different future. Mr. Williams from the cafe noticed her increased focus. He began offering her more shifts, understanding her motivation. "Every extra hour is another step towards your dream," he would tell her. Her classmates, who had previously ignored her, started noticing her changed demeanor. The quiet girl in the back of the classroom was transforming before their eyes, becoming something more than they had ever expected. The scholarship represented more than financial support. It was a validation of her hard work, her silent determination, her unwavering belief that education could change everything. As the final days of application preparation arrived, Emily felt a sense of calm determination. Whatever the outcome, she had already proven something to herself, that she was capable of extraordinary things. The scholarship competition was a maze of challenges, designed to test not just academic ability, but resilience and character.
Hundreds of applications flooded the selection committee's offices, each representing a student's dream of a better future. Emily's application stood out. Not because it was flashy or dramatic, but because of its genuine, heartfelt honesty. Her words spoke of struggle, hope, and an unwavering commitment to family and education. Then tragedy struck.
Margaret fell ill, her body worn down by years of hard work at the textile factory. The medical bills began to pile up, threatening to crush their already fragile financial situation. Emily's world suddenly became a balancing act between caring for her mother and maintaining her scholarship application. She began working extra shifts at the cafe, her sleep reduced to just a few hours each night. Mr. Williams, recognizing her situation, tried to be flexible with her work schedule. "Take care of your mother," he would say, showing unexpected kindness. The scholarship committee continued their rigorous selection process. Each application was carefully reviewed, scrutinized for potential, for that spark of something extraordinary. Emily's application sat among hundreds, waiting to be discovered. At the hospital, Margaret's condition worried Emily. The doctors spoke of exhaustion, of a body pushed beyond its limits. Emily would sit by her mother's bed, holding her hand, promising her that things would get better. Her school performance remained exceptional. Mr. Thompson and Mrs. Roberts continued to support her, providing additional resources, writing recommendation letters that highlighted her incredible journey. The cafe became Emily's sanctuary and her lifeline. She learned to manage her time with military precision. Early mornings were for hospital visits, school hours for studying, afternoons for work, and late nights for scholarship application refinement. Her classmates began to notice her transformation. The once invisible girl was now a force of determination. Her quiet strength spoke louder than any words could express. Financial pressures mounted. The electricity bill remained unpaid, hospital expenses grew, and their savings dwindled. Emily felt the weight of responsibility crushing her, but she refused to break. During one particularly difficult night, she discovered an additional scholarship opportunity. This one was specifically for students who demonstrated exceptional resilience and family commitment. It seemed almost designed for her story. Her application for this scholarship became her most personal work yet. She wrote about her mother's strength, about the challenges of growing up in a struggling family, about her determination to create a better future. Mrs. Roberts helped her polish the application, her experienced eye-catching nuances that made Emily's story more powerful. "You're not just applying for a scholarship," she told Emily, "you're sharing your journey." Mr. Thompson contributed by providing additional context about her academic performance. His recommendation highlighted her intellectual potential, her ability to excel despite challenging circumstances. The scholarship committee began their final review. Hundreds of applications had been reduced to a handful of potential recipients. Emily's application sat among them, a testament to her incredible journey. At the hospital, Margaret's condition slowly improved. The doctors spoke of recovery, of hope. Emily continued to balance her responsibilities, her determination never wavering. Her part-time work at the cafe became a source of strength. Mr. Williams continued to support her, offering flexible hours and understanding. "You're going to do something special," he would tell her, seeing her potential. The waiting period was the most challenging. Each day brought uncertainty, each moment a test of Emily's resilience. She continued to study, to work, to care for her mother, refusing to let hope slip away. Her classmates watched her transformation with a mixture of admiration and surprise. The quiet girl in the back of the classroom had become a symbol of determination, of hope. As the scholarship decision date approached, Emily felt a mixture of excitement and terror. This was more than just financial support. This was a chance to change everything, for herself, for her mother, for their future. The entire town seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen to the quiet girl who had captured everyone's imagination. Emily's journey was about to reach its most critical moment. The day of the scholarship announcement arrived with a quiet intensity. Emily sat in the school library, her hands slightly trembling, her heart racing with anticipation. Around her, the world seemed to pause, waiting. Mrs. Roberts entered the room, her face unreadable. Behind her, Mr. Thompson stood with an envelope in his hand. The entire school administration seemed to have gathered, creating an atmosphere of unexpected tension. "Emily Collins," the principal's voice rang out, clear and strong. She stood, her legs feeling like they might give way. The room filled with an electric silence that seemed to stretch forever. You have been selected as the primary recipient of the full scholarship, the principal continued. Not just that, but you've been awarded an additional grant to support your family during this challenging time.
The words took a moment to sink in. Emily felt the weight of years of struggle, of silent determination, suddenly lifting.
Tears formed in her eyes, not of sadness, but of pure, overwhelming hope. Mr. Thompson approached her, something different in his eyes. The teacher who once overlooked her now saw her completely.
Your journey is extraordinary, he said quietly.
Her mother, Margaret, who had been invited to the ceremony, sat in a wheelchair. Her eyes were filled with pride, with love that knew no boundaries. The medical treatments had been difficult, but her daughter's achievement was the best medicine.
The scholarship wasn't just money. It was validation. It was proof that hard work, quiet resilience, and unwavering determination could change everything. When Emily took the stage to give her acceptance speech, the room fell silent. Her words were simple but powerful. She spoke about her mother's strength, about the power of education, about hope that exists in the most unexpected places. This isn't just my achievement, she said, her voice steady. This belongs to every person who believed in me, who supported me when no one else did. Mr. Williams from the cafe was there, beaming with pride.
Mrs. Roberts wiped a quiet tear.
Mr. Thompson stood at the back of the room, witnessing a transformation he had initially failed to recognize. The additional grant meant more than just financial support. It meant medical treatments for her mother, stability for their small family, a chance to break the cycle of struggle they had known for generations. News of Emily's achievement spread quickly through Millbrook.
The small industrial town, often forgotten by the world, now had a story of hope. A story that said potential could emerge from any circumstance, that silence could be a form of strength. Her classmates, who had once ignored her, now looked at her with a mixture of respect and wonder.
The quiet girl had become a symbol of possibility. That evening, returning home, Emily and her mother embraced.
Their tiny apartment, once a symbol of their struggles, now felt like a place of triumph.
They had survived. They had succeeded. The scholarship meant university education.
It meant opportunities her mother had never dreamed possible.
It meant a future without constant financial worry.
Margaret looked at her daughter, seeing not just the girl she had raised, but a young woman who had become her own beacon of hope. You did it, she whispered, her voice filled with emotion.
Emily's journey was more than an academic achievement.
It was a testament to human resilience, to the power of quiet determination, to hope that refuses to be extinguished. In the years to come, her story would inspire others. Students from similar backgrounds would look to her example, understanding that circumstances do not define destiny. That with education, with support, with unwavering belief, anything is possible. Millbrook had witnessed a transformation. Not just of one girl, but of an entire community's understanding of potential.
Emily Collins had proven that true strength isn't about being the loudest voice in the room, but about persistent, quiet determination. As night fell over the small town, Emily looked out her window. The future, once uncertain, now stretched before her, bright, promising, full of infinite possibility. Her triumph was complete. Her spirit, unbroken.